Good afternoon. Fairmont prides itself as being innovative. Its developments in waste management and sustainability, its fight to combat child exploitation, giving back to the community. Fairmont always keeps up with the latest technologies. iPads in guest rooms, electric blinds, TVs in guest bathrooms, new BMWs to drive guests. And of course, great employee benefits, from insurance benefits to discounted hotel rooms. This is why people want to work for Fairmont Hotels and Resorts. But what if Fairmont could do more? Our lives are so busy, and especially the lives of working parents, they're under a lot of pressure. Some are even struggling to get back to work due to inconvenient childcare options. What if this pressure could be eased simply by having a daycare within the hotel? Employees having their children close by, cutting out the stress of being too far away from them, and the hassle of having to make multiple journeys in a day to different locations. Of course, there are going to be potential obstacles for the company to overcome when looking into this option. There are licenses, liabilities, and insurance to take into consideration. You would need a license to operate a childcare program under the Childcare Licensing Act, says the government of Alberta. If a child gets hurt while at the daycare, the company would be liable and you would need insurance and to thoroughly vet potential daycare employees. Running a daycare is not many companies' strong point. What does Fairmont know about daycares? And that is where private daycare companies come in. You could have a private daycare within your building, a completely separate entity to your company. This would solve the worry and hassle of licenses, liabilities, and insurances. Many companies have employed this option. Baths Canada, at its head office in Mississauga, Ontario, have a private on-site daycare. They have no formal relationship with the company or financial responsibilities. And I think this would be a great option, as the main reason for an on-site daycare is convenience and proximity. A private on-site daycare would fit those needs. One last such negative for the company could be conflict from the daycare, conflict between parents and the daycare, or conflict between children, leading to conflict between their parents. Any such conflict like that could interfere with work or make them bitter towards the company, as the daycare is within the company. But there are many benefits to both the company and the parents for having an in-house daycare. The company would have more engaged employees, which is what all companies want. With their children close by, parents would feel more at ease and content. They are less likely to be distracted, thinking about their children, as they know they could be with them quickly if needed. Less stressed parents too, as they only have to travel to one location, making their morning routine a lot smoother. Childcare issues are a big contribution to absenteeism. I interviewed many employees, and one employee said, if the day home is closed, I have no family to draw upon to watch my children, so I would have to call in sick. Many employees I interviewed were in the same position. With limited family to help, if they have no childcare, they are unable to go into work. Many Canadian companies have already incorporated a daycare into their business, and they have noticed less turnover of staff. At Ericsson Canada, Patricia McLean, Director of Communications and Marketing, said, having an on-site daycare reduces turnover since employees have convenience and peace of mind when it comes to childcare. It has also helped them attract employees in the demographic they were looking at, 25 to 30-year-olds. Another major benefit that I foresee would be the ability to get women who want to work back into work. It is no secret that the employment rate gap between men and women is significant. Global News looked at the variances between Canadian cities in 2017, Calgary's percentage difference actually being the lowest out of the major Canadian cities at 8.5%, but it still has room for improvement. They also believe getting women back into the workplace is a great way to boost economic growth, getting more money into households and then back into the economy. An economics professor from Carleton University, Frances Woolley, wrote a blog in an economics forum about Canada's female employment. She looked at how the employment rate of women has been increasing since the 1970s, but it is still not equal to the amount of men in the workplace. One of her theories as to why this might be the case is down to childcare. She said greater availability of childcare might help some women shift from part-time work into full-time work. Not just the fact too that there are not as many women in employment, but there are considerably fewer women in leadership roles. A study by the World Economic Forum through LinkedIn found that women represent fewer than 50% of leaders in every industry analysed. In some fields, such as mining and manufacturing, women leaders account for fewer than 20%. I think these statistics speak for themselves. They could be considerably contributed to positively if childcare was more readily and easily available to help women get back to work and work more hours. Many of the Canadian companies that already have a daycare within their business were winners in the MediaCorp Top Family-Friendly Employers for 2018. In-house daycare has been a big factor in their family-friendly benefits. Companies such as universities, like Simon Fraser University in Burnaby and University of Toronto, also Canadian Heritage, Desjardins Group, and as mentioned before, Baths Canada. These companies have successfully incorporated in-house daycares into their operations based on the fact that they made the top family-friendly list. It seems to me that the pros definitely outweigh the cons for the company to have an in-house daycare. The major cons of licenses, liabilities, and insurance can be easily avoided by having a private on-site daycare. And the huge pros to the company and employees of engaged employees, less stressed employees, less absenteeism, less turnover of staff, and ultimately getting more women back into work and able to work more hours. Thank you for listening.